we're gonna be talking about employee discipline. Ayan. And ako, the only person so far that I feel can help out, no, in answering these things is none other than the founder of HR Shouts and Whispers. I'm going to introduce her, Cristina Reclamado.
So hi George, how's everything?
Uy, kamusta? Kamusta? I'm good, I'm good.
So it's Saturday once again and this is episode 90. So ang dami na nating, well parang ang dami na nating pinagdaanan kasi it's actually 1 year from how, well, when we went on work from home, and people have been asking about how to manage employee discipline issues even if you are on work from home. So,
Mm.
ngayon, we're just going to go through the principles. But here's the thing, okay? I just want to make a clarification. So, as an HR professional, this is actually part of your work.
Of
Hindi,
course.
yes, it's something that cannot be outsourced kasi this actually is the essence of of being an HR manager. That's employee relations.
While enduring the pandemic, why don't you upskill in the comforts of your own home? Improve and add more certificates in your resume. Simple, direct, easy. Visit the playlist in our YouTube channel. Browse through our videos and choose the video that interests you. Send in your requests for a particular video and we will send back the certificate via email. Watch this full video for the details.
Yeah.
And normally, we always tell ourselves, okay, toxic tong work environment natin, okay? Palagi na lang natin sinasabi yan, toxic masyado sa trabaho natin. So, may mga sources ng toxicity, okay? Number one, mahirap ang trabaho sa office if kulang ang resources. So, that's why we also plan for resources, yung mga kailangan materials, equipment, and then we have yung, of course, HR facilitates yung capital or the cash needed, the funds needed to be able to fund yung compensation. Kasi as we have been emphasizing on people, that's HR operations planning your HR operations at the start of the year, okay, and no, being able to fund all those necessities. What are those necessities? So with compensation, yung benefits natin, SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig. And then we have yung issue ngayon, okay, like you have to be able to also figure out, okay, how to spend for mga health concerns, especially yung mga company policy on treatment of kung paano kung may nagkasakit dahil
COVID-19.
sa
Mm.
yes. So pagka ganon, that's supposed to be like parang 30% of the equation, okay? Now the rest has something to do with employee relations, and it has something to do with spelling out what the company stand on certain behaviors, okay, or phenomenon that happens in the workplace. Okay, so I will give you an enumeration lang of these documents or policies.
Chris, hold on, may tatanong lang ako.
Mm-hmm.
Sabi mo kasi ano so these are like sorry to break your no. But I just want to to clarify for the rest of for the sake of everyone who's listening. Ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng toxic environment? Yun muna siguro ang anuhin natin. Ano ba ang ibig sabihin? What does it mean? What's the definition?
Toxic environment is patong-patong na problema, okay, na nakaka-stress na. Kasi sinasabi natin na yung pagkapatong-patong ng problema is may mga problema na hindi nasusolve and then suddenly merong mangyayaring situation or scenario. Tapos pag himayin mo, parang wala ka nang pupuntahan na solution. Kasi dapat may mga options ka. So example is, alisin muna natin yung mga policies. Kasi HR admin ako for the longest time. Usually kasi, uh, ang operations ng company is dapat napaplano yan. May equipment.
Mhm.
So, nagiging issue yan lalo na sa work from home kasi minsan hindi nakakapag-supply ng laptop. Ngayon, pag hindi mo na-prepare yan, may mga tanong ang mga empleyado. Number one is, palagi akong pinapagalitan ng aking supervisor kasi hindi ko magawa ang trabaho. So, meron akong issue sa productivity at pwedeng maging performance issue. And then yung performance issue na hindi ma-address, pwedeng maging disciplinary action. Kasi negligence. Kasi through time, maobserbahan mo, baka nagiging neglect sa trabaho yung tao or baka sinasadya yung hindi pagtatrabaho na yon. So, pag wala yung, kung hindi mo maplano yung equipment na yon, wala kang na supply, magpapatong-patong yung problema and magkakaroon ng pagka-toxic environment kasi sanga-sanga na hindi mo malaman kung saan siya, kung ano yung cost talaga. Okay, so parang naipon na issues na. So yun yung ina-avoid natin.
Gets. Actually, yon tama ka. Now that you were able to explain it, meron ako mga naisip din na example. And one example is, yung hindi nyo makuha yung goals ninyo, galit yung customer sa inyo, at the same time, nagtuturoan pa kayong lahat. Di ba? Toxic yun.
Oo, kasi
Classic
hindi nyo,
yun.
kasi parang paikot-ikot lang yung inyong problem. Di ba meron tayong tinatawag na root cause analysis, problem solving. So parang sa lahat ng options, hindi kayo makamove to a solution or a set of solutions. Sa akin, I would define a toxic environment as that. Kasi yung merong sinasabi na puro away, that is just a symptom of this kinds of parang unpreparedness to, okay, from on the side of the leaders. So pagka ganon, nagsasanga-sanga nga yung trabaho. And it creates an environment na napakasama kasi nagbe-blame na yung mga tao sa mga mistakes nila. Nobody wants to own up. And dahil nagtuturuan sila, hindi mo ngayon alam kung sino ang may problema. And you cannot correct that. Diba? Kasi hindi mo alam kung ano yung root cause eh. Tao ba? Okay, so is it negligence? Is it kulang ba sa motivation yung tao, etc. Ngayon, itong mga behaviors na to, George, mga normal naman na nangyayari itong mga flaws na to. Dito sa facet ng HR, punta muna tayo sa definitions, okay? So, sinasabi natin, employee relations. To be able to manage itong mga versus yung employee-employer relationship, ito yung definition ng employee relations. In fact, kahit yung compensation, that ang umbrella is employee relations, and then compensation management is actually a portion of employee relations. Kasi yan talaga ang essence bakit may HR at hindi natin ina-outsource yung trabaho ng HR manager. It's to be able to facilitate that process.
Marami ang ganyan ina-outsource yung HR manager.
Kasi walang person na magsasabi na ito yung standard. Pagka kasi outsource, ang sasabihin, ay kasi I've experienced, okay, also outsourcing the payroll function, but just the payroll function. Oo. But the decision making, kailangan empleyado yun ng company and dapat may authority siya doon. So that's why you can never, well, yung argument na pwede bang mag-exist na walang HR manager, kasi depende naman yun sa title. HR can be embedded within admin. So there you have an admin manager. So yung tao na yon is a finance person and HR.
Correct.
Oo. Pero may HR pa rin. Yun. And then, ang ano ngayon kasi is, ito ngayon, kaya ko in-enumerate yung mga policies kasi ito yung mga incidents ng mga problema sa office na related sa tao. Okay, like for example, okay, yung mga tinatanong ng mga tao, yung work hours, 8 hours ba tayo, Monday to Friday ba tayo? Ano ba ang undertime, overtime, unproductive, productive hours, dinidefine po yun kasi kailangan alam ng tao kung ano yung hangganan ng time, yung duration nila.
Time in lieu, mga ganun, di ba? Kasama yun.
And then yung attendance mo kasi kailangan mong mabayaran. And then you have punctuality. Meron ba kayong grace period? And then sinasabi doon kung hanggang saan, ilang times or frequency kayo sa isang buwan na pwedeng malate, na hindi nadidisiplina or napapatawad ang sinasabi nila. Mapatawad at hindi kayo ma-memohan. Then, isa pang related is, of course, kailangan may employee code of conduct ba kayo? Alam ba ng mga tao ang tamang behavior sa mali? Kasi baka hindi naka-define yan. May mga behaviors, George, na common sense, okay? Pero may mga iba kasi may gray area. Example na lang is ito, yung ano ba, halimbawa, yung pag-accept ng phone call. Kasi pag BPO ka, bawal ang telepono sa floor. So dinidefine yan kasi pinapaiwan yung phone sa locker. Okay, pero paano tayo ngayon magko-communicate yung mga emergencies ng pamilya kung ikaw ay nagre-report sa isang opisina? So dinidefine yung mga guidelines diyan kung pwede ka bang mag-step out, okay, or pwede ka meron ba kayong mini break, tapos pag sa mini break mo, pwede ka ba mag-step out muna sa cubicle mo, i-check mo yung locker mo, pwede ba yon? So yung mga ganon, dinidefine yan. And kasi meron po tayong code of conduct, tapos kung malaki yung inyong company, bawat department, meron silang mga tinatawag na guidelines or yung mga house rules. So, dapat kasi malaman ng mga tao. Yan yung mga importante na nalalaman ng tao sa isang opisina. And pagka nag-work from home kayo, dapat malaman ng tao kung paano rin sila hindi mako-consider na productive sa unproductive. Kasi ba, kumain na, pwede ba, nandiyan lang yung ref mo, pwede ba akong sumaglit at kumuha ng tubig? Yung mga ganon. So, that's actually sa tingin natin ay common sense, pero dinidefine yan para hindi tayo nagkakaroon ng conflict sa pagdidesisyon natin. Kasi, ang HR, dinidefine niya yan kasi at kinakascade niya yan sa mga line managers para yung line managers alam nila yung tamang behavior at para mag-gauge din nila kung productive yung kanilang mga tao or nag-hit ng performance. So it's a simple explanation why with the relationship between the HR manager and the line manager. bakit may kailangan pang i-define yung employee code of conduct na yan, di ba yan common sense? Pero kasi minsan
So,
kailangan
ako,
na, Mhm.
ano na, very quickly lang. Meron ako naging ganyang experience before. Especially yung mga nasa field work. Di ba? Siyempre, hindi mo naman natatrack yung time niyan, di ba? Pero may mga iba kasing offices or ibang companies para ma-ensure na makapag-time out ang mga nasa fieldwork, kailangan bumalik pa sila sa opisina. May ganun di ba? So, again, it may look as if it's common sense, pero it has to be written very clearly. Ano ba talaga yung stand ninyo? At the same time, dapat makatarungan din sa empleyado. Kasi kung ako nga naman yung manager, nasa labas na yung tao, ba't ko pa bababalikin yung opisina? Baka there might be a way for them to clock out, di ba? So, yun. Maganda.
Correct. And ito ngayon ng meron tayong mga ibang mga major misbehaviors. Okay, kailangan alam din natin kung paano pagdidesisyonan or paano tayo gagalaw bilang HR or bilang line manager, lalo na when it comes to, well, bullying. Meron tayong mga anti-bullying policies, anti-sexual harassment policies, and then yung non-discrimination policy. So, nakalagay yan dyan. At ang mga kailangan din malaman is yung mga training management policy. Halimbawa, may training ka, tapos ano ba to? Pwede na bang mag-resign yung tao after the training or may bond siya? Mga ganon.
Kailan nira-write off yung bond?
Yes. Pero ang pinaka-importante kasi, ang nakita ko kasi is yung flexible work arrangement policy nowadays kasi lahat nagte-telecommute. So dapat ma-define din yung mga actually yung mga rules of engagement, like paano ka magka-clock in, okay, ano yung considered na time out, time in, and then syempre yung work hours kasi as we have gathered during this 1 year, meron pa rin tayong mga organizations, hindi nila nire-respeto ngayon ng 8 hours. Parang 24/7 on call yung tao. So it becomes very stressful din sa mga tao. Compared to yung nasa office sila, at least may boundary. Okay, pumunta ako sa office, lumabas ako sa office, wala na ako sa company. Pero dito kasi nasa bahay ka lang, so pagka naka-on yung cellphone mo, nasa messenger ka, pwede ka pa rin makontak.
Dapat sumagot. Ganun.
Oo, dapat merong mga parang galit pag hindi ka sumagot kasi lahat emergency. But this one is an issue not just of policy but it's also of managing your workload. Kasi syempre, why would you contact a person beyond office hours? Ikaw nga, 'di ba? What do you do beyond 6 p.m.? Ako nakatunga nga lang ako pag 6 p.m. nanonood na ako ng Netflix. So, yun. So this one, we have to manage those things. And then another one is some of them kasi parang may mga links with line management, like yung employee exit management policy, nag-resign. Okay? Tapos nag-awol, paano yon? Paano sila mapoprocess? Paano sila mabibigyan ng clearance? Ito yung mga ina-address nun. And also, ngayon din is, kasi yung iba kasi, this one, kasi since it's very second nature for us to communicate, hindi rin nila nilalagyan ng policy ito. Pero ako sumusulat talaga ako ng policy, communication policy, and use of technology. What does it address? This is a good chapter or set of policies kasi it addresses how you communicate through email, through GC, face-to-face, and ano yung principle. You just have to say that people will endeavor to respect each other. Hindi kayong magsisigawan, and then anything na conflict should be dealt with professionalism. So, sinistate yan sa policy na yan.
Naalala ko, Chris, sorry, meron
Mm.
kaming ganyan. Yung policy na ginawa namin di ba ngayon, usong-uso yung mga Zoom meetings, di ba?
Mm.
Tapos kasi nagkakaproblema, yung tipang kunyari, mamaya meeting tayo, Chris, set natin mamayang gabi. Tapos nagkakaproblema kasi hindi alam kung sino yung magse-set ng Zoom meeting, di ba? May ganun eh.
Yes.
So kami, what we did was, the policy is, ano na lang, kusa. Whoever wants to do it, has to do it. Parang ganun. Or both of you has to set a Zoom channel para lang make sure na everyone, kung may nakamiss, hindi magiging sore point. So, yun.
Itong mga policies na to, George, ito yung tinatawag natin na umbrella policies. Okay, so what the company stand is, it's set there in the document. Ngayon, itong mga nitty-gritty, yung mga adjustments to the procedure, yung mga, limbawa, for example, si department na to, may may unique circumstance siya. Okay, so kailangan lang naman maggawa ng house rules tong si line manager. Pero it should be similar to the umbrella policy. Yung mga ganon, that's how the line managers can do it kasi. And ang hindi kasi ginagawa kadalasan sa mga policies na to is hindi na titrain yung managers kung paano para parang i-communicate sa kanila yung sakop, and then paano yung procedures, and then sila kasi kung alam ng line manager yon, on their own may manganganak yun ng a little bit of an adjustment to their unique circumstance, 'di ba, as a department. Pero pag nakita mo yung kanilang guideline, parang pareho pa rin. Ano lang, limbawa lang, for example, kasi nasa creatives ako before. So, paano yung sa attendance? Alam mo kasi dati, sa Novaliches, matraffic na matraffic doon. So, oo. So, paano kung na-late talaga bang magsususpend tayo? Eh di maubos yung tao natin kasi during that time, ginagawa yung Quirino Highway. So, pwedeng mag-offset. So yon, guideline na lang yon. Pero pag tiningnan mo, parang in keeping pa rin sa pagre-record ng attendance, pagfa-file ng proper documents. So, yung HR manager, dapat i-communicate niya yung dapat gawin ng line managers para yung line managers nakakagawa sila ng sarili nilang adjustment. Pero hindi naman siya too far from the mother policy, kumbaga. So, dapat lang may orientation and communication. And dapat nagpo-coordinate. So, yung job ng HR is to create that policy and stand of the organization, cascaded to the line managers, and then actually the line managers will be the one implementing it. Especially yung attendance, kasi operations yun productivity ang tinatamaan nun. So, attendance, syempre yung mga employee movement, anti-sexual, this can be from HR na kasi these are major decisions already. So anyway, I've seen our audience piling up. So nakikita ko sila George dito. So anytime during our discussion, they can ask questions.
Yep. No problem.
So we will make some distinctions. Okay, so inuulit natin. So employee relations is actually concerned with making the employee-employer relationship positive. So that's why you have all these facets, okay? Under employee relations are employee discipline, and then you have also performance management because of productivity, and you also have compensation and a little bit of training because you need to train people to yung policies and then procedures ng HR. So, yun yung sinasakop nun. Yung recruitment, hindi siya part ng employee relations kasi the principle is if you get the right candidates, more or less, konti na lang ang gagawin mong pagdidisiplina. Kaya ka nagpo-profile ng candidates because you get people who are the right fit and hopefully hindi na sila maging problem people when they are in the organization. So, meron tayong mga sinasabi, yung industrial relations, yun po ay concerned with the dynamics of the management and the trade unions. So, iba yung industrial relations. It's part of employee relations when your organization has a union. Kasi ito yung mga CBA, ito yung mga grievance.
Mabibigat.
Uh, and at saka with the trade union talaga kasi magkakaroon pagka nagka-union yung company ninyo, pupunta kayo doon sa industrial relations. Yun. So, may ano pa ba may concern pa ba sila, George? Yung mga may nagtatanong na ba?
So far, wala pa. I don't see any questions pa lang. So,
Okay.
yeah, let's continue.
So I'm just going to pull up. Okay, so I'm just going to pull up. So there are certain things that we contend with in, one moment. So anyway, I'll just pull up my PowerPoint. Anyway, kasi usually ang pinagmi-mix nila is employee relations, industrial relations, and employee engagement. Employee engagement is the situation where your employees are very engaged at work that they don't have any time for something else. So, parang they are focused on the work. Usually kasi ini-interchange natin yung employee relations with employee engagement. But employee engagement is the situation that you want, it's the level that you want employees to be at so that they are engrossed with work and hindi na sila, they won't think of going to another employer. That's one. Or they're just focused with their work.
Tama ba yung analogy ko, Chris? No? Employee engagement is the state. It's the ideal state, di ba? The less ideal state is industrial relations. Ibig sabihin, I'm not saying that unions are bad, but all I'm saying is we have to be at a situation, tama ba? Yung
yes, actually the employee engagement is the situation or the state. And then in industrial relations kasi happens when there's a trade union present in your organization.
Correct.
And it's construed as a little bit complex because you deal with some unions kasi are closed and some have certain elements like for example affiliated sila with a certain group na political group. Okay, so medyo nagiging complex yung relationship, so that's industrial relations. Yung industrial psychology kasi, it's concerned with yung psychology at the organizational level. Yun. So, but they're often intertwined. But I would say that when you're maintaining an employee-employer relationship, that's employee relations. Kasi nagkaroon kasi ng reputation ng ER na ito lang ay yung pagdidisiplina, pagme-memo, pag-fire ng tao. But what we are all doing is employee relations. Kasi we think of the employee and we think of ways to make the employee happy and satisfied. And we try to create an environment that's a positive and conducive one for our employees. So that's employee relations. That's actually how it was taught to me by my mentor. Kasi medyo nandun siya sa side ng OD and hindi siya masyadong legalistic. Employee discipline, yun yung side na nagiging legalistic kasi it has something to do with due process. So due process, yung you follow the twin notice rule, how many days do you give the employee to give an explanation? Okay. But aside from that, if things are ironed out naman in the employee discipline manual, all the HR has to do is facilitate the process. So we've actually jumped far further, but I can see that you have a comment.
No, just a question. Yan, ito maganda yan. Sabi mo kasi, di ba, twin notice rule. I mean, the whole process, di ba, of discipline. A question there, ito eh. Kunyari, ito yung magandang tanong eh. Kasi nga, di ba, our role is to create that positive environment. As much as possible, pag-usapan na lang. Di ba? Huwag nang palakihin yan. Ayusin na natin. Pero ang next question dyan is, if I am an HR person and I went, and my mindset is, hindi, ayusin na natin, aregluhin na natin. Daanin muna natin sa usapan before magkalabasan tayo ng mga dokumento. That being said, do I still need to document or not?
You have to document meetings. Anything that happened as a formal meeting, you have to document. Okay, later on, we will before we go through that, okay, so when you have an underperforming employee, di ba, may tinatawag tayo, we have to go into a crucial conversation with that employee. We have to document that already. Kasi meeting siya eh. It's a formal meeting already. And minutes of ang format niya is minutes of the meeting. Kasi ang ginagawa ng mga line managers, kausap lang. Okay.
Exactly. Puro kausap lang. Tapos sasabihin naman nila sa mga HR nila, kinausap ko naman eh. Pero hindi din-document.
Hindi, dapat mo i-document.
Dapat document.
Oo. It's actually just an outline of yung pinag-usapan nyo. Like, di ba pagka nagmi-minutes tayo sa isang meeting, ito nga eh, I'll just fast forward a little bit. When we do employee discipline, when we manage, okay, it's called EDM, employee discipline management. There are there are two approaches, okay, that should be part of the employee discipline manual. Ang myth is, ang nilalagay lang sa manual is paano gumawa ng administrative hearing. Pero, ang dapat mong gawin, kasi stages yan, kasi may tinatawag tayong progressive discipline. So, paano nagsisimula? Siyempre, ang line manager being the one managing and supervising the performance of the employee. Alam niya, di ba, kung ano nangyayari. The moment na may problema ang employee, like in 1 month, 6 times naging tardy, dapat kausapin na niya yon. Ang tawag doon, counseling. That's a formal meeting. Talaga magsiset ka ng time with the employee, preferably in the conference room, not in Starbucks or in any coffee shop. Kasi ginagawa kasi ng mga manager, lunchtime, usap tayo. Lunch out tayo. Hindi pa yun. Doon ang dapat mangyari kasi is may formality yung meeting. Alam ng tao na seryoso na kinausap siya. Kasi kung hindi, pag tinanong mo sa isang kasi, halimbawa na-terminate siya, sasabihin lang niya, parang hindi naman kasi seryoso yung aking manager sa problema ko eh. So hindi niya alam. And then so pwede niyang may deniability kasi. So, kailangan formal yon. And that's what HR teaches the line manager during orientation. Hindi lang yung enumeration ng mga violations. So, yun yung misconception sa employee discipline.
Pwede ba ganito, Chris? Alam mo naman ako eh, matanong ako sa ganyan. Pero pwede bang ganito? In the absence, I know that even me, I promoted doing everything sa opisina, sa confines ng office. Kasi nga, nandun yung documentation, nandun yung formal environment, no, yung office environment. But there might be times kasi kunyari sa sales, no? So sales, nasa labas kayo, and then gusto mo i-coach yung tao mo. No, you want to talk to your person kasi medyo nagkakaproblema, may either may remiss sa oras, hindi nagfa-follow up sa clients, and then you want to coach the person or counsel the person. Is it possible if they do it outside? But is it possible that they CC the HR? Now, okay,
Yes.
I spoke to this person outside of the office, but I'm copying the HR that this discussion took place. Pwede naman ganon, di ba?
Actually, ito yung dapat gawin, George. Okay, so kasi we're talking of two different things. Eh. Coaching is actually guiding of a person, okay? Your date, yun yung talagang trabaho mo, okay? You're supposed to tell a person how to do things, etc. Counseling is kasi ano siya, meron na siyang kasalanan na ginawa. And you really have to point it out. Ngayon, itong mga kung performance issue na to, talagang, kasi threshold level tayo as a line manager. Parang sa sales, lalo na sa sales, di ba, medyo hindi natin ma-distinguish yun kasi kailangan tutok ka as a manager and then sinasabihan mo kung paano gawin, etc. Pero you have to signal kung ano yung sukdulan mo. Ito na yung last time kitang kakausapin. The next time is counseling na tayo. Pero wala kang vocabulary ng counseling kasi wala siya sa manual mo. Kasi puro disciplinary action yung nakalagay doon. Dapat, i-distinguish yun ng HR na ito, ang stage na to, counseling to. Pero pag umabot na siya dito, na siya, serious offense na siya. So, dapat nakalagay talaga, dapat kumpleto ang employee discipline manual natin from at what point magiging violation ang isang performance issue. Para ma-document talaga. Hindi yung magigess tayo, ano ba yan, negligence yan? Negligence ba yan? Kinausap mo ba? Alam ba niyang nagle-neglect siya ng trabaho niya? Alam ba niyang may performance? Kasi ganyan palagi yung conversation between HR and the line manager, di ba? Parang, HR, gusto kong i-report tong tao ko. Kinoach ko na siya madaming beses. Ito meron akong notice sa'yo. This is my last time na nakakausapin siya. Pero sasabihin ng HR, bakit umabot tayo sa ganito? Wala pang, dapat may verbal warning, may gano'n. Nag-counsel ka na ba? Kasi coaching pa lang to, bakit umaabot na sa akin? So, I'm actually trying to pull up I'll pull up lang I'll go ahead and I'll actually give you the slide and let's see kung ano itong sinasabi. Let's illustrate further itong steps na to. Kasi ito yung hindi sinasabi or hindi nagagawa, kaya siya palaging merong gap. Parang at what stage do you say that it's a performance issue is already a misbehavior? So,
Sige, that's good.
So, can you see my slide?
Not yet.
Wait, I'll just first, okay. So this is actually the distinction, okay? Serious and non-serious. Okay, so pag serious, ito yung mga, like for example, mga violations that actually become a suspension. Okay, nasususpend yung tao. And then non-serious, usually ito yung mga day-to-day things like mga attendance, issues, punctuality, mga errors at work. So makikita mo that inaano siya, dinidistinguish siya. Okay. And then, actually may third level pa yan eh. Like serious, parang kasi ito yung light, moderate, and then you have the grave offenses. Or yung mga not serious, and then light offenses, um, moderately serious, and then gravely serious. So talagang dinidistinguish yan. Bakit natin kailangan i-distinguish yan? Kasi kailangan malaman natin kung at what point magkakaroon ng counseling from the line manager and then progressive discipline. Okay. So dito, pagka nagkaroon kayo ng conversation or dialogue, it has to be formal and it has to be yung hindi lang siya sandwich approach. You have to state the problem. So you have a problem with attendance. May I know what's causing the tardiness? And for this month, you were tardy for 6 times. So bakit ganon? So this is the first offense and you will get a verbal warning. So nandoon yun sa minutes of the meeting. Kasi sinasabi talaga ng line manager yun. Para next month, meron na naman siya, let's just say, umabot siya ng 8 tardiness incidents. Ano mangyayari? ma-elevate na siya na maging written warning. Tapos, sa third month, naging ganun ulit, ano na siya, final warning. Hanggang sa umabot sa fourth offense, meron na siyang 2 days suspension. Ngayon, depende yon sa iyong sa inyong chart, okay? At saka na pagkasunduan na parang punishment. So the punishment is actually agreed upon between HR and management, consisting of the CEO and the COO, kasi the COO represents the line managers or operations. And then yung procedures of implementing the suspension, kasi mawawala yung mga tao. Dapat alam ng COO yun. So, yun ang ginagawa natin. We distinguish everything, serious to non-serious. And we write it in the employee discipline policy.
Okay.
So,
Meron akong chismis sa'yo.
I guess. Anong chismis?
Hindi. Meron akong, actually, this is a person who was actually one who's a college mate of ours sa UP. And this person was actually one of my direct reports way back. Ang nakakatawa, hindi ko na lang kikwento kung sino, pero siguro just for the sake of na-suspend kasi siya for performance. Na-suspend
Yes.
for performance. And because she didn't, and the suspension was like 30 days. As in matagal. Matagal yung suspension kasi grabe naman talaga yung offense na na-commit. But she didn't take it positively, and after that she resigned. Sayang, no? Kasi kunyari ikaw, tatanungin kita. Siguro baling lang tayo ng konti dun sa side ng empleyado. Dapat ba mag-resign kagad yung empleyado kahit sobrang demotivated siya? Although I know it's a right, pero sinuspend na siya 30 days . So kumbaga binigyan na siya ng disciplinary action. Does it mean that she gets too demotivated enough for her to resign or for him to resign? Or kung akong empleyado, hindi, I'll take this as a challenge, ayusin ko to.
Kasi ako ang thinking ko dyan, kasi it's not just because I'm an HR professional. This one kasi, it seema like the organization has spelled it out. So, kaya siya na-trace na pwede siyang madisiplina dahil dyan sa performance issue na yan. So, I think yun eh. Kasi rare yan na maririnig mo na magkakaroon ng disciplinary issue because of performance. But because it was traced, so it means that the organization had the proper processes in place and the
Correct.
monitoring protocols in place.
Correct.
So I would actually think use the 30 days uh, to actually reflect on what I did. Kasi that's a performance improvement plan na yung inano sa
Uh-huh.
kanya. So that's a second chance already. Kasi ang notion kasi dito is pagka ako ay, if I'm not mistaken, is she a managerial employee already, George? Is she a
She's not, but she's highly tenured.
senior? And
Senior.
kasi yan po ang ang nangyayari sa mga senior employees. That's actually what you call hubris, pride.
Yes.
Kasi for me,
No?
I would actually take that as a second chance kasi it means that the company, sinuspend ka. So, hindi ka naman terminate. There are companies who would actually manage you out already if you had a performance issue.
Correct, correct.
So, ito second chance na to. So, she must have signed a PIP. So, I think that this is properly documented. So, sa tingin ko, kaya rin siya siguro umalis kasi there's an aspect in her that she's thinking na parang she has to save face. Ngayon, kailangan kasi natin ma-communicate tong EDM, George, across organizations. Kasi some people, um, feeling nila na embarrass sila or a source of shame. Actually, that's good if they feel some shame in it kasi that would actually make them reform. 'Di ba nakakahiya, hindi ko na gagawin ulit. So that's actually a normal reaction. However, there are some individuals also in the organization. Ito na yung nangyari sa'yo. Ito yun ngayon. Toxic workplace, madaming chismis. And that's another signpost na may toxic environment kasi madaming chismosa, pag-uusapan pa. Kaya tayo kailangan may communication policy. Kasi dapat, I know that this is like common sense, pero dapat i-spell out na dapat itong mga bagay na to, dapat it should not be discussed out of the context of yung what it's supposed to serve. Hindi na yung madaming nanganganak pa na chismis. So actually, if you think about it, employee discipline is manageable. And if you look at it as a process, wala namang problema sa kanya. It's part of the organization kasi the purpose is to actually teach you what the correct standard of behavior is.
Correct, correct.
The problem.
Improvement plan talaga siya. Well, it's not an improvement plan, but it was an improvement gesture. Na hindi ka
Yes.
naman tinerminate eh. Binigyan ka lang ng ganyan just to send a strong message that na ano yung customer eh. Nagkaroon tayo ng problema with the customer and it warranted talaga. Sabi mo nga it was traced, it was monitored correctly and somehow it was actually handled well except siguro nga tama ka, the employee felt shame pero siguro nandun aside from the shame nandun din siguro yung agitation na if ganyan kayo at isosuspend nyo lang ang isang senior na katulad ko, I'd rather leave. Ako naman, may ganun, di ba?
Kasi ganyan yung, I'm going to say, I'm sorry for saying this because I don't want to offend yung mga may senior na position. But actually, kaya tayo nagkakaroon ng problema, okay, with senior employees kasi meron na silang attitude. Yan yung sinasabi natin, di ba? That's why we'd rather get people who are fresh, who are young, kasi ito yung nagkakaroon na ng sungay. So, ang masasabi ko lang is, it's people become confident as they do the job over the years, okay? But with the confidence kasi, yun na nga, nagkakaroon ng overconfidence and attitude problem. Kasi senior na ako, bakit kailangan nyo pa ako disiplinan? Loyal ako sa company. Actually, being loyal, naging factor yon kung bakit nag-performance improvement gesture siya. Kasi kung tutuusin, dapat tinanggal na siya.
Tama yun. Tama yung explanation mo. That's perfect. Kasi nga, dapat manage out na. And the circumstance kasi nga is, tama may entitlement dahil nga matagal na, ito pa, sila yung part ng glory days. Glory days, di ba? Yung, tumaas yung kita ng kumpanya because of us. No, tumaas yung kita. Pero yun na nga, that's why it carried over na hindi mo ako pwede basta-basta tanggalin or bigyan ng DA. But the thing is, ngayon iba na yung panahon. No, hindi na kumikita yung kumpanya. So things have been tighter. Inaayos na natin yung proseso. However, yun ang natatamaan sila. So yeah, ang ganda ng explanation.
Well, ito there are a lot of, kasi major, kasi yon offenses. When the complaint comes from a customer, B2B, B2C, basta customer, major offense kagad yan. Kasi yun yung source ng natin, live ng ating yung bread and butter natin, customer na. So hindi nila dapat yon maintindihan. Tsaka ito yung sinasabi natin, 'di ba? Somewhere in our mission statement, 'di ba? We aim to deliver the highest level of customer service. So ang ibig sabihin niyan, kasama yan sa pagtingin ng performance mo, and then kung may complaint, dapat nga zero complaint tayo eh. Diba? So, talagang yan, major offense yan. And for me, the treatment naman na ginawa doon sa colleague mo, George, I think that was fair. Kasi, na-maintain pa rin yung trabaho niya. Hindi siya nawalan ng trabaho. So, when we manage yung employee-employer relationship, the goal is actually to exhaust means to retain it. So, ibig sabihin, hindi mawawala yon, hindi siya ma-fire. Kaya tayo dumadaan sa progression, yung mga first mamemohan, verbal warning, progressive discipline tayo kasi ini-exhaust natin all the means to correct the behavior.
Okay, now that we're there, ano naman masasabi natin dun sa mga HR practices na hindi maiwasan Ako, naka-experience ko din Yung tipong, hindi, pag may offense na ganyan, tanggalin na natin. Or for that matter, tawagan na natin yung abogado natin. Let's already file a case. Ano yung dapat na nagbabago? Kailangan ba i-gawin yung ganong mindset or
Kasi ganito yon. At one point in my career, ganyan yung attitude ko. Actually, naubos ko ata yung mga tao, mga 50% na wala. Hindi, kasi we have to now look at HR not just as one facet, but as an interconnection of all the facets. Ito na yung sinasabi natin na yung integrated HR, integrative HR. Okay. So, masasabi ko dyan is, first is, hindi siya business-oriented na HR. Number one, to be able to attract those people, you need to invest money and then you train people. Diba? So, itong tao na to, okay, tiningnan mo lang yung one dimension, which was yung kasalanan. Pero tiningnan mo ba yung contribution ng tao? And yun nga, yung investment ng company doon sa tao. Dapat tingnan mo yon. Kaya nga natin tinitingnan holistically kasi pwede naman turuan yung tao na wag nang gawin yung kasalanan na yon. But there are certain industries kasi and certain cultures na ganon. Okay. Number one, okay, pag may foreign entity, may ganong thinking, may ganong mindset. Kasi sa kanila, kadalasan, pag may foreign entity, meron silang semblance of due process pero hindi ganito katagal.
Ganun katagal. No? Totoo yun.
Oo.
Lalo sa mga BPO, mga... I mean, I'm not bad-mouthing, no? Pero karamihan kasi nung ganung practice. Kasi nga sa kanila, the next day pwede ka eh. You could
Oh,
get
the next
the
day.
next
Tayo
day.
30 days kailangan. May 30 days yun, may due process. Number two, okay, sa kanila kasi, ang kasi is, performance talaga. Pero dito kasi sa Pilipinas kasi, we consider a job as a proprietary right. Parang may ownership tayo. Parang property natin yung job aside from being an economic right, parang ganun. So, kasi yan ang tradition ng ating labor law. What we do is, natatagalan yung mga foreigners. Oh, bakit kailangan pa 30 days? Diba? I don't want to see her face anymore. Diba? So, yung mga ganon, it really happens. I can say it happened because I've been told to do it. Okay. So, syempre, well, first is the HR manager should educate the management na hindi pwedeng ganon. And then if ever, there are some ways to go to do it, pero work around na. But I don't really like doing workarounds because people have this notion that when we discuss workarounds, number one is it kind of trivializes the process na, oy, pwede lang naman gawin yan eh. So anyone can be an HR person. So we don't need HR anymore. So it trivializes the field. Second is, okay, so pwede naman pala gawin yan. So tomorrow it actually will be a breeding ground of abuse, di ba? Kasi paano kung may mga pamemersonal na mangyari? So as an HR person, we have to do things above board. Kasi, di ba sinasabi nga natin, we want to be fair, we want to be impartial, and we want to be reasonable.
Ang audience natin, maraming nanonood. So, guys, if you have questions, please just ask them dun sa comment section. Then we'll try our best to answer them. We take this opportunity kasi si Cristina yung sumasagot eh. So, ano yan, kumbaga, maganda yung makukuha mong insights, no? So, yes, please.
One of the most common questions kasi is paano ba ang mag-start ng disciplinary process? Okay? So, may sources kasi to start the disciplinary process, dapat may offense. So, number one, yon. Dapat merong clear offense na ginawa yung tao. Whether, late siya, tardy siya, ano pa. Second is performance issue. Third is, merong theft. Yung mga dapat clear yung offense. Okay?
Or was escalated by a colleague, di ba? Pwede, di ba?
Whistleblower. Okay? Ang tawag doon. Kaya tayo may whistleblower policy kasi yung nag-escalate nun, kailangan protektahan ng HR at hindi sasabihin ang identity. Ganon. Alam mo, may nangyaring ganyan sa recently, but it was not an organization and I will not name names. Okay, so there was I'm part of this organization. So we're all volunteers as well. And what happened was, merong isang member, so may nakita silang post Okay, na may ginawa tong member na to, this member is capable of doing it, and then mahilig lang siyang mag-enter into business relationship with others. But you have to understand, this is a volunteer organization. Well, yung rules naman namin, it's actually isa lang naman nakalagay. So it stands for for non-discrimination. Okay. So what I was going to so there, from the mother organization, she should be expelled daw. But the thing is, there was no complaint. So, parang nakita lang yung
Yung
post na
complaint.
yon, okay? Nakita lang yung post na yon. So, that's why we need rules. Kasi if there are rules, it should have stated that there should be a complaint. Dapat clear kung ano yung kasalanan ng tao. Kasi tatanggalin mo siya. So, sa akin kasi, whether sa isang volunteer group or nagtatrabaho ka, kung tatanggalin ka, dapat clear yung violation mo.
Hindi, tsaka dapat, kasi something as heavy as tatanggalin ka, dapat talaga kompleto at clear yung ibig sabihin, it has to be clearly stated, it has to be enumerated, di ba? It has
Yes.
to be deliberated. Parang hindi basta-basta ganun lang. Ganun.
So, meron naman, this person encountered naman some parang skirmishes with other members. Ang problema, parang lang to, pinag-usapan lang to and then kinonfirmed na, oh, ganito nga yung ugali niyan. So, parang na-offend nga ako dyan eh. But there was no complaint. So, kumbaga, hindi siya pwedeng mag-advance, 'di ba? So, it's the same in the office. Kailangan may offense na nangyari kasi you would have to, what's the second, if there's an offense or an incident report from a colleague, okay, from a witness, okay, halimbawa nakita ka na ito yung pinaka-mundane and common na problem dati, okay, yung nagnanakawan ng food sa pantry. Okay. Gawin nating example yon. Okay,
Daming ganyan sa amin.
kasi yan yung nakakainis na na ng mga cases na palaging ini-involve ang HR. So, may nawalang food. So, sasabihin mo, okay, kailangan mo pong i-formalize yung complaint nyo. Magsusumbong lang sa HR, pupunta lang sa HR, na wala yung food ko. Yun, may nagnakaw. So, kailangan i-report nyo yun. Like, di ba? I am the employee, okay? I put my baon in the ref and when I went there at 12 noon, it's gone. Di ba? Dapat ganun. Ilagay mo in a letter format, di ba? Tapos, I would like to ask the HR to investigate what happened to my baon. Natatawa ka. Natatawa ka pero
Going already, lagi ako nawawala ng baon.
actually hindi naman ako nawawalan ng baon pero may mga nawawalan ng baon. So, pero ito yung mga nitty-gritty kasi na pupunta sa HR, wala naman siyang verbal lang na sinabi. So dapat pumunta kayo sa HR, meron na kayong dala na letter na ito yung complaint nyo. Actually, if you think about it, ito kasi yung mga narinig ko o na-observe ko. Okay? Kasi usually, umiikot ka sa opisina, may mga, nawawala yung food ko sa pantry. Pupunta ako sa HR. Pagpunta sa HR, verbal lang. Pagka sinasabihan ko yung aking assistant, pagka ganon, sabihan mo na lang na i-formalize yung complaint so that we can act on it. Kasi ito, simple example lang to. Yung mga complaints na merong gumamit ng toilet, hindi nag-flush at nakakadiri.
Grabe yan,
So,
daming
so actually, when we went on work from home, I kind of welcomed the work from home arrangement because it meant that we will no longer have to deal with missing food in the pantry and the non-flusher in the in the ladies' room or men's room. Okay, so it's funny, but it happens, and we're not mocking you guys, but it's actually, if you're going to go to HR, just have something in black and white already so that we can already act on it. Why do I need a black and white if I'm the HR? Because remember, I am not connected. I am not your boss. I am not in charge of your performance. And I don't really know what you do from Monday to Friday at work. So I need the black and white kasi number one, it also means that things are spelled out. Okay? Yung when, what, where, why, who, how, they're all spelled out in the complaint. So I would just have to check the CCTV, 'di ba? And then it's easy for me. Pag verbal kasi, puro emotions pa yan. Mahirap. Kasi anong date natin i-check? Okay, anong time frame, 'di ba, sa CCTV? Hindi natin alam. Second is, okay, we also want to protect ourselves kasi baka hindi naman kayo masyadong seryoso. You just want to vent out your frustration. And then, when you do that, ang mangyayari is, pagka nag-move na yung HR, sasabihin nyo, hindi, nag-OA lang kayo. You blew it out of proportion. I just wanted to vent out my sentiments. So, nangyayari po yan. So, that's why we want to have it in black and white. Kasi gusto namin malaman kung seryoso kayo, 'di ba? And meron tayong probable cause. Okay? 'Di ba? Uusad tayo. Kasi kung wala, a complaint, okay? Yung complaint na 'yan, okay, that's interpersonal and hindi tayo makakaakto kasi magiging waste of time lang for HR, and HR has other aspects also. Lalo na kung generalist yung HR ninyo, tapos yung staff niya, isang payroll, isang recruitment, tatlo lang sila. And mga 350 people in the organization.
Alam mo, ito yan eh. Yun nga yung sinasabi ko eh. Siguro digress lang ako saglit, no? Kaya ako lagi sinasabi, tama ka kanina sinabi mo, Chris eh. Mahirap yung ina-outsource, kunyari, yan, konti lang kayo, tapos i-outsource mo pa sa isang manager sa labas. Although I'm not against that practice. All I'm saying is it's a watch point kasi mahirap dahil the manager is not physically present, nor is the person really immersed in your operations. Kaya napakahirap i-outsource lang. I would rather magpa-mentor ka na lang sa mga magagaling na HR. Or you pay an HR for retainer to mentor you. Mas maganda yung ganun para natututunan mo, di ba? So, instead of outsourcing it, kasi pag in-outsource mo, sorry, trabahong tamad eh. Pag ganun, ang problema mas nagkakaroon pa ng it opens Pandora's box, mas mahirapan pa kasi nga walang visibility, no. So yun lang naisip ko lang.
Visibility, and also kasi the presence of kasi ang HR kasi ang sinasabi natin is yun yung voice of reason. So hindi naman siya tooting our career, okay, tooting our field, okay, yung ganon. Ang inano lang natin is kasi ang presence ng HR mismo, people know that there's a process, and that alone is comforting for people to know. Kasi merong proseso, hindi basta-basta sila mawawalan ng trabaho, mapapag-initan, or alam mo yon, nila na lang masususpend or ganon ng tao eh. They need psychological comfort or the feeling of psychological safety at the workplace. So when people talk about mental health issues, hindi natin yan kailangan hindi lang natin pag-uusapan ng mental health issue. Kailangan din is pag-usapan natin ano yung procedures involved. Kasi yung mental health policy, we had a training last year, and we told people, and si Doc Flor said that it can be just a statement, okay, that you are aligning to the department order, okay, or PD, whatever, that created the mental health awareness law, something like that. So sinabi ni Doc Flor yon. But ang ano is mental health, or the feeling of why do you need mental health awareness? It's actually the feeling of safety.
Correct. Correct.
And employee relations provides you a feeling of safety when it's laid out properly and defined properly. So that's one level of feeling safe in the office. Hindi lang yung physical safety.
Alam mo, ang ganda niyan eh. Kasi, which gets me to my next question. Napaka-importante rin kasi that even if you're under an employee disciplinary process, is that you also feel safe as an employee. Yun ang number one eh, na kahit na alam mo na hindi, they will subject me to DA, disciplinary action. Pero I know that they will be fair. Which leads me to my next question, Cristina. Medyo digress lang ako. Has there been any instance in the past na meron kayong na DA na empleyado and then ang sinabi nila, ang feedback nila was, alam mo, pinagtulungan ako ng management eh. May ganun ka bang na-experience? Or meron ka bang na ganun?
Lagi.
Talaga?
Kasi ako yung humaharap sa empleyado.
Okay, sige, paano nagiging and why do these questions arise?
Kasi hindi kasi na-explain. Usually kasi, the recurring theme in my career is lagi akong may pinapalitan na HR. And then pag pumasok ako, ang ano is, after 2 weeks, meron ng i-DA. So that's the recurring theme in my career. So pag siniserve ko na yung notice to explain, syempre, being the neutral party, kakausapin ako. Ma'am, pinaginitan lang nila ako. Ganun. So, ako naman, tatanungin ko siya, bakit mo nasabi na pinaginitan ka? Ano ba yung nangyari? It just so happens na pila na lang siya nagulat na, first is sinabihan siya ng supervisor niya na, lagot ka, may DA ka na. Second is, nandito na rin ako, binibigay ko na yung DA. Yung notice to explain. So, parang meron kasing abruptness doon sa, hindi kasi siya yung naging progressive na sinabi ng supervisor niya na, oh, may problema ka sa performance mo. Ganon. Hindi ganon eh. Basta akala niya okay sila, biglang meron na siyang negligence issue. So that's the first one. The second one is, actually this one naman is, this is actually controversial, okay, because it was an issue of theft. So ang nangyari dyan is connivan sila. And that's the reason I was hired, because I was supposed to facilitate yung investigation. Okay, so this happened middle of my career, and well, ito lang, I always say, okay, this one is, we uncovered connivance among, I think, 36 people in the organization. Hindi ko nasasabihin yung produkto kasi mahuhulaan nila kung ano yung company na yon. Mahirap na, di ba? But it's actually parang connivance among people. And ang nangyari lang is, I served the notice to explain. And then the person asked me, ano po mangyayari? Sabi ko, well, ito ay talagang mawawalan ka ng trabaho. Kasi straightforward kasi ako na tao eh. Well, pagka napatunayan, talagang terminated ka. Yan, lalabas ba yan sa record ko? Yes, lalabas siya as terminated for this offense, which is theft. Tapos isip siya, ang tagal niya nag-isip. Actually, mga 15 minutes kaming tahimik dun sa conference room. Tapos sabi niya, ma'am, paano po ba kung mag-resign na lang ako? Sabi ko, kailangan mag-confess ka. Kasi pupunta pupunta ako sa sa board, sasabihin ko, pero kailangan ko mag-confess ka in writing. So, titig siya sa akin. Sabi ko, pero ito this is just like purely intuition, okay? Kung anong gagawin ko. Wala kasing mga steps dito. But what I did was, I had a piece of paper and then a ball pen. Bago lang ako dito sa company na to, and I really don't like gossip. So if you're going to confess, don't do it verbally, do it in writing. And sign it. Ganyan siya, titig siya sa akin. Alam mo, ang diin ng kanyang yung pagkasulat niya. Kasi parang na rin siya eh. Parang hindi niya kasi alam kung anong figure ako siguro. Kung ano ba ako, part ako ng katatakutan or whatever. Basta nakatitig siya sa akin. Ako rin naman, tumititig sa kanya. Pero nag-confess siya, ang diin ng kanyang pagkasulat, binigay niya. Pero pagbigay niya sa akin, ma'am, pwede ko pa sabihin kung sino yung mga kasama ko. Alam mo, sinabi ko, ito isa pang papel, isulat mo lahat ng accomplice mo.
Question lang. What if talagang guilty yung management of ganging up on a case, no? Anong pwede gawin ng HR dyan?
Well, ito yon. Pwede ka kasing certain companies, okay, they have a third party. Okay, ito yung ngayon nagmamanage. Actually, ang tawag namin dito whistleblower. May tawag kami ang whistleblower, okay, policy, and meron kaming third party na pwede kang magsumbong. It's a phone number, pwedeng magsumbong yung tao. So, hotline yon. Kasi part yun ng good governance policy ng management of good governance, yung mga ethics, etc. May kini-create yung organizations ng ganyan, especially big organizations. Yung mga multinational, meron yan. So, meron silang hotline, tas may mga whistleblowers, and then there's a policy for that and a set of rules. Pero third party na, dyan pwede mo i-outsource yan. Kasi, ang ginagawa niyan is, hindi na yan nakakonect sa HR. Yan ay third party. Tapos ang directly reporting to the COO, SVP of admin, yung mga ganon. Basta mga sa board na yan, hindi na siya level lang ng mga managerial or senior managerial employees nagre-report. Doon na siya sa upper management nagre-report. So it's that one you can outsource. Kasi na siya, dapat ng impartial, kailangan mo ng impartial body para mag-conduct ng investigation. Usually yan, mga agencies na yan, mga may private eye service, merong security service, may mga companies that specialize in that, George. So, kasi pagka mga executives na yung gumagawa ng anomalya, kailangan na yan ng first is hindi pwedeng HR kasi maybe HR is part of the group, kasama din siya, 'di ba? Pwedeng ganon, or maybe HR is not at that level. Okay, baka nandun siya sa middle management level, hindi siya senior. Hindi siya C-level.
Hindi pa C-level. Hindi pa strategic.
Oo. So kaya siya ina-outsource sa mga agencies. Ang tawag lang namin dyan, si third party. Pag sinabing third party, yun na yun. Okay, yung mga anomalya. And that happens in manufacturing companies. Okay, and it happens in fintech. Kasi fintech, siya mga financial processes like payment processing, credit card processing. Yes.
Yung control. So yes. Compliance, very, very, very
so much more complicated. So yun, yung mga kasi yung mga decisions on outsourcing, pag yung function is, kasi I'll borrow a term, okay, necessary and desirable, okay, to the job. Like, for example, HR function, alam naman natin na payroll. Payroll kasi pwedeng i-outsource kasi
So, yeah.
transactional lang naman siya eh. Yung, for example, training pwede i-outsource
Correct.
because the HR can plan it, okay, and develop the curriculum with the consultant. Pwede yon. Pero yung mga ito, employee relations, hindi siya pwedeng i-outsource. Kasi first is psychologically, magkakaroon ng problema sa tao. Kasi wala silang semblance of yung yung first is sino yung face of the company, sino yung tatakbuhan nila. And then, kailangan kasi ito kasi hindi mo ma-explain eh. Parang gusto nila ng tao na constant figure na mapapagkatiwalaan. So, yun yung masasabi ko about the HR. Now, it's becoming a trend na i-outsource because the management feels that maybe HR is an expense already. So hindi nila makita yung siguro hindi wala silang makitang value kasi may mga talk of maybe using the function with technology, AI, kasi madaming mga nag-outsource na group. Ako kasi, I am hired kasi sometimes they need somebody who's impartial to deliver the notice to explain. And lalo na yung mga major offenses. I'm hired as a consultant because I deliver the bad news. I'm the one that actually talks to the person to give the notice to explain or the show cause memo and facilitates the process. And sometimes kasi itong mga in companies na to, the HR and the employees have been together for 30 years or so. So friends na sila, masyadong close. So the owners would want someone like me to be part of the process. Yun. Pero mga medium-sized companies lang to. And usually kasi ayaw nila yung pag-deliver ng notice to explain. Kasi you would have to tell the person na ito yung preventive suspension kayo, tapos iniimbestigahan kayo. We think that there was some inaccuracies in the reporting, in the balance statement, and then in the cash, in the bank deposit, in the bank account of the company. So you are being ordered or placed on preventive suspension. So they need somebody to deliver that now with impartiality. So that's where I come in. And I facilitate the process, and I gather all the documents and evidence, and I present it to management. So usually mga accounting yung iniimbestigahan. So that's one part of my consultancy.
Okay. Okay, guys, do we have questions so far? Maraming nanonood, pero ano nagtatanong? Meron ko ba nakikita, Chris? Wala akong nakikita eh.
May nakikita ako, pero hindi sila nagtatanong. Wait,
Hindi sila nagtatanong. No questions, no questions. Aba, 7:56 na pala.
Oo. Actually, kasi actually ang employee disciplinary issues, okay, usually people ask, paano kung ganito, paano kung ganyan. So usually yan yung nasuserva ng notice to explain. So what I would just say is, pag defined naman yung procedure, the employee should just answer the show cause memo with his explanation. Kasi pag nakalagay doon, then kasi pag walang explanation, it will be construed as tiyatanggap mo na yung paratang sa inyo. So, oo. Hindi ka nagre-react, so silence means yes. And then what they would do kasi, hindi sila sasagot, pero didiretso sila sa dole. Can they do that? Yes, you can actually. You can do that, but it will be a waste. It will be an exercise of futility kasi sasagot din naman ng HR doon.
At babalik din ang Dole at sasabihin, hindi, yung HR mo pakausap mo sa akin.
Yes. So, ganon. Ang ano kasi, ang mga kine-question lang naman ng DOLE is hindi nag-follow ng due process and therefore illegal dismissal yon. Alam naman ng tao na kasi yan kasi exhaustive na kasi yung mga pag-uusap sa mga HR fora tungkol dyan, George. Ngayon, ang mga nitty-gritty na lang natin is at what point papasok yung HR at what point yung line manager. So, kaya ang ginawa ko dito, so may slide tayo. So, mas maganda magkaroon ng pag-uusap at magiging part ng policy na pagka oral warning, written warning, at light offense, yung immediate superior muna, 'di ba? Hanggang sa umabot sa final written warning. Yung suspension kasi, it has to be done with HR dahil minsan kadalasan ang problema doon is hindi ka na mababayaran. Parang ano siya, absence from work 'yon. So deduction 'yon kasi without pay. Depende na nga yun, yan, kung how many days, kung up to 1 week, okay? May kasi progressive tayo, di ba? Usually nagsa-start yan 2 days or 3 days na suspended. So ito ay yung ano kasi, yung mga nitty-gritty na to, pinag-uusapan talaga to internally. Pero pag umabot na sa suspension, dapat department manager and human resource manager coordinated sila. Tapos transfer, demotion, dismissal, HR management with top management. Ito ngayon ang common question, bawal ba mag-demote? Actually, hindi naman bawal mag-demote. Ang demotion kasi is considered loss of termination, parang process ng termination. Hindi siya, kasi ganito ang mga cases on demotion. Kasi nga, remember that our basic framework is we're supposed to exhaust all means to save the employee-employer relationship. As a last resort, kasi kung grabe talaga, there are cases, halimbawa, usually sa advertising, because of a certain decision, nag-pull out ang kliyente. Okay, pwedeng so performance issue 'yon. Kasi yung client nag-pull out kasi merong pinilit yung team na maging concept and creative direction ng campaign. Pero hindi nag-work. So imbes na kumita yung ad agency, ay kumita yung client, wala, naging parang sa kanila, loss yon. Pwedeng mag-complain ang client doon. And when that happens, that can lead to a disciplinary action. So, anong mangyayari? Imbis na ma-dismiss yung mga tao, pwedeng magmakaawa ang mga involved to save the job, and maybe they would settle for a demotion.
When you say demotion, Chris, siguro i-categorize lang natin.
Demotion in rank?
Of pay or is it demotion of role?
Both pwede. Both pwede. Pero you have to be alisto with your process. Remember that I told you yung mga nitty-gritty na hindi sinasabi sa code of conduct. Talagang you must endeavor that things must be documented. So halimbawa nagmakaawa sa iyo ang isang tao, George, dapat hindi siya verbal, dapat kung mag-request siya, pwede pa po akong pwede ba akong mabigyan ng second chance kahit demotion. Dapat alisto po yung HR doon. Dapat it has to be in writing.
Kasi tama yun. From an OD standpoint, ang advice ko dyan, ganito. Tignan mo, Chris, kung tama. I would position it naman as, nasa positioning yan eh. Kung paano ipoposition ng management nyo yan eh. Like, oo nga, totoo, nagkaroon ng loss of confidence yung customer and because of siguro a couple of people not performing, instead of pinpointing it at those people, I would make it appear as if it's a resource optimization exercise.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Diba? So, okay. So, guys, we're going to be doing a resource optimization exercise and these were the root causes. So, papalabas mo talaga na it was something that was born out of the engagement with that customer. And then, ito yung mga pwedeng options na mangyayari because we experience this as an organization. So, ito, magkakaroon tayo ng mga resource allocation, optimization na movements. Meron tayong mga, yun na nga, hindi mo pwede sabihin demotion. No, magkakaroon ng ganito just because nangyari to. But it doesn't mean that management is not on top of it or management wants to let you go. It's really more of this is what can happen. So parang ganun, para at least hindi masakit yung, para wala nang magmamakaawa, para ma-eliminate na yung pagmamakaawa. Ngayon, kung may magmamakaawa, tama ka. Doon na pwede i-consider na, ngayon, sige, ito yung mga nakikita nating options. Again, it's all options pa rin.
So, George, actually, I can see questions here. Okay, so we can actually, both of us can give our take on how to handle this incidents. Okay, so I'd like to say thank you to our viewers now. Okay, so we have a lot. Okay, so yeah, Romel Estrada. So let's see. So wait, ito. Jingjing, asking for a friend. Walang company handbook yung company nila. Paano magkaka-offenses? Sanctions, mandatory ba ang company handbook? Thank you. So kung walang handbook ang isang company, ano ang mangyayari? Ang mangyayari po dyan, this is actually the rule of thumb. If it's not spelled out in a company handbook, it's the labor code. And the labor code, you have serious misconduct, fraud, yung mga analogous offenses. Okay, so it will be the labor code. But just the same, kung walang company handbook, the basic principle is due process. So get the explanation, give a show cause memo, get the explanation, and then decide. So kailangan pa ba mag-admin hearing? Hindi kailangan mag-admin hearing kung aamin. Yun, that's one. Oo. Okay. So, hindi na kailangan ng admin hearing kasi ang hinahanap lang naman is due process. So, dahil sa pagkuha nyo ng explanation doon, I think you will be able to get the details. Bakit kayo nag-admin hearing? Kung merong, first is, hindi clear yung explanation niya or hindi siya umamin.
Or for that matter, nilabanan niya, nagbigay siya ng side, in-explain din niyang mabuti, di ba? Para at least both sides marinig, di ba?
So the admin hearing is actually best consisting of, parang magfo-form kayo ng ad hoc committee, disciplinary committee, composed of the HR manager, the line manager, and another person, maybe the COO. Kung gusto pa ng CEO, sumama siya. But best talaga, wag munang umabot sa CEO, yung disciplinary committee. Parang meron lang kayong ad hoc committee na gano'n. So, it should be 3 kasi kung mag-vote, dapat walang tie. Diba? Yung magde-deliberate. Okay.
Correct. Ako naman, advice ko dyan, por Diyos por Santo, kung walang employee handbook, please, kahit policies man na.
Actually, house rules, guidelines.
Guidelines. Tapos papirmahan mo sa empleyado. Kahit yun man lang. Hindi naman kailangan na handbook kasi yung iba napaka-tedious sa handbook. Ang haba naman yan. Hindi, actually, kaya yan gawin in 2 days eh. Iisa-isahin mo lang yung mga facets eh. No, pero please, importante yun.
Tapos I'll just share siguro din it's actually, can you see my screen, George?
Not yet.
Wait. Well, actually, it's just pwede kasi kayong gumawa ng simple, if you're a startup, pwede lang kayong gumawa ng mga unforgivable sins. We call it the 7 deadly sins, okay? Sinasabi namin yan during, alam mo ba, it's actually stated or discussed with the employee. We show it during recruitment. Kasi we have an interview, diba? And then, okay, so this is our company. This is what we stand for. This is yung ganon. We give them the profile of the company. Okay, and then we're actually not very strict, but we have house rules. And in fact, this is our 7 deadly sins. Yun, sinasabi na namin doon. And then that's reiterated during hiring, nag-sign ng contract, may orientation. And then ano pa rin, during mid-year, pagka dumadami ang mga incidents ng tardiness. So, yun, kailangan nag-reorient ka. So, ito, George, okay, I'd like to get also your take on this. Ikaw ang nito. How to handle extramarital affairs of two high performers.
Ganda ng tanong mo ah.
So,
Una, ang tingin ko dyan, my take, no, is the extramarital affair getting in the way of performance? That's the first question always. No? If it's not, it depends also on, kunyari, naka-lay down yan sa handbook ninyo or meron kayong set of policies na bawal ang extramarital affairs. Yun, pwede yun pag-usapan. Pero pag-usapan, hindi mo na yan kakasuhan, hindi mo na yan aanuin, idadalin sa kung saan. Pangalawa, I would always defer to, is it getting in the way of performance? Kasi una-una, extramarital affair yan eh. 'Di ba? Hindi, wala, labas tayo dun eh. 'Di ba? It's their own, sabi nga natin, buhay nila yan eh. Pero if it's getting in the way of performance, or for that matter, if it's getting in the way of order in the organization, then it's something that needs to be talked about. So yun yung take ko dyan. O Chris, ikaw.
I've handled actually one. This one, kasi first is, I've worked in organizations. Yung kanilang value, okay, is parang Christian values. So, meron sa code of conduct na hindi pwede magkaroon ng relationship. And the reason also is quite logical kasi may barracks kami. So, kung may ganong relationship, hindi mo naman mapupulis yung opposite sex, 'di ba? Kung ano yung ginagawa nila sa gabi. So, out of practicality, hindi pwede 'yon kasi baka maging tayo, 'di ba? May magkakaproblema tayo doon kasi hindi natin alam kung yung married, let's just say, for example, married male, magka nagka-affair sa single na babae, baka sugurin kami ng misis.
Exactly.
So, magkakagulo sa opisina. Okay, again, pinapakalagaan lang natin yung order and also psychological safety ng ibang tao. Okay. Second, kung may value or core values yung company nyo, pwedeng magkaroon ng provision sa code of conduct. Lalo na kung yung may-ari is born again Christian, talagang conservative. Okay, second, what I handled, so there was a rumor. And then the rumor became real because yung spouses nung dalawa sumugod sa opisina on separate occasion. Nire-report yung spouses nila. Kinausap ako. Kasi laging kinakausap ang HR manager dyan eh. So, sabi ng guard, may naghihintay daw sa akin sa labas. Tapos, yung on separate occasions, nagsabi sila. Ito lang naman ang sinabi ko kasi titingnan namin kung yung performance na apektuhan. Pero as it is, kasi hindi natin pwedeng paghimasukan yan kasi wala siya sa code of conduct din na bawal ang magka-boyfriend, girlfriend. In fact, yung staff ko nga may boyfriend sa kabilang department.
Mm.
So hindi naman natin sinasabi na bawal yung magkaroon ng boyfriend. Pero meron lang may ethics lang involved. Okay, it's an ethical issue kasi saka dalawa silang nako, nandito sa audience yung isa kong kasama sa nun. So anyway, you have to really define, okay, kung ano yung parameters ng HR diyan. But you can confront, meaning you can confront in private. Kasi sumugod na yung spouses eh.
Mm.
So may record na hindi ka naman ikaw yung pumunta doon sa bahay nila mag-investigate. So pumunta na yung spouse sa iyo. So kailangan kausapin mo na yung staff mo.
Okay.
Kasi it's the same. Pag halimbawa naglayas yung ano nyo, yung staff ninyo sa bahay nila, pumunta yung nanay sa iyo, ikaw yung HR manager, kinausap ka, you are now professionally liable to inform your staff na pumupunta na yung next of kin niya at kinakausap ka. Oo. Madami yan. Madaming instances yan. Yung hindi umuwi yung asawa sa bahay, tatawagan ng HR ng asawa na babae. So, kausapin mo, pero sabihin mo, ma'am, hindi kami pwede makimasok dyan. Pero kailangan sabihin mo rin sa staff mo na yan ang nangyari. Kasi, pag sinabi mo yan, hindi yan chismis. Fact yan. Kasi nangyari talaga eh. And you should document that it happened. Meron kayong minutes of the meeting. Para hindi tayo napapagbintangan na nagchichismis. So, yan is data and make it an official data. Yan ang po ang gagawin natin dyan. So, the first thing that you should do to handle the extramarital affair, number one, do not participate in the rumor mongering.
Number one, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's important. Number two is, so see kung ano yung vina-violate nila, kung meron ba. Okay. Third is, ano yung effect sa performance. Kasi kung high performer yan and these are your star salespeople,
Really?
oh, diba?
Kung wala
Pero,
talaga.
pero alam mo, I have, through the years, ang sinasabi ko dito, meron kasing, cycle. May cycle ito. Sometimes the problem solves itself. Nag-break.
Ayun.
Oh, hintayin nyo na, 'di ba? So hindi na siya problem. Kasi sometimes it's about what to do at the proper time. Okay, timing, okay? And then if you have evidence, kasi hindi po ako umaakto na walang evidence and walang documentation. Kasi the worst that will happen is ikaw naman na madi-disciplinary action bilang HR manager for rumor mongering.
Exactly.
Ngayon.
May
So,
questions ka ba? Ano pa?
ito, madami siyang questions eh. Nakikita ko siya. Click mo yung eyeball. Di ba may 14? So, is it necessarily during suspension that the top management, president, and operations manager are involved at the later stage? And if it's a serious offense, but not the president muna, COO. Kasi ito yung nagde-determine, halimbawa mawawala siya temporarily sa office, kailangan may decision na yung COO. Kasi dapat makascade niya na ito yung mangyayari.
Yeah.
Diba? Para may authority din.
Para may authority. Tama yun.
Kasi pag walang officer doon, the decision becomes parang panacha-challenge siya eh. Kasi it's the reason bakit yung staff na HR, kasi meron kasi mga various roles, di ba? ER specialist, tapos HR manager. The ER specialist serves it, but the decision should come from the HR head. So, para hindi na challenge yung authority. Bakit po kailangan bigyan ng chance na resign na lang sa record kung proven guilty naman po siya sa offense? Hindi po ba mag-create ng bad precedents yon, lalo na kung huge theft case yon? Okay, so this is the reason why you have to have an exit management policy.
Correct, correct.
Why? Kasi dapat nakalagay doon, hindi pwede mag-resign habang may ongoing
Doing
investigation.
Tama yun.
Oo. And then how do you, tsaka kasi, this was asked often kasi yung salisigang, parang ma'am, nagbigay na po ako ng resignation. Yung dinadrop lang siya sa table ng HR manager. We have a proper exit management policy defines the processes too. Okay? At what point is the resignation considered approved by management? So, ang pweba dyan is my formal acceptance letter from the HR head.
And aside from that, yung ano din, yung gravity din or yung laki ng issue na hand, no? Is it something that involves assets, di ba? Is it something that involves proprietary information, data privacy, no? So or compliance? Na yung mga malaki yung impact sa organization, hindi basta-basta sinasabi na porket nag-resign ka na, okay na, off the hook na, tapos na ang kwento. Hindi ganun yun. No, because
I think,
impact yan, di ba?
tsaka kasi I think si Miss Sally Ulanday asked this kasi may yung sa aking case noon, sinabi nga, when I said it, di ba, ng graceful exit. Na-decidean yung kanyang graceful exit pagkatapos na ng decision making doon sa kaso. Kaya ako lang kinuha yung kanyang pagsabi na pwede po bang mag-graceful exit ako para hindi na ako ma-terminate, para makapakita ko sa management na tatanggapin niya na may kasalanan siya, pero graceful exit na lang. And in return, pwedeng sabihin na lahat ng kakunayb niya. Which actually worked because it was found out that a senior manager was involved in it. So sometimes it's a tactic. Kasi pag theft kasi, lalo na yung magaganyang issue, parang mag-strategize ka din.
Totoo yun. Lalo na pag malaki ang involved at maraming tao involved. Department.
So, ang ano kasi natin dito is, we want to be fair, we want to be reasonable, and kasi ang piniprevent natin, George, is yung illegal dismissal. Kasi pag illegal dismissal, babalik pa siya sa company. Reinstatement.
Reinstated. Wala na yung trust.
Okay. So, so ako, George, ano ba ang take mo dito sa mga, well, first is mga cases na major offenses?
Ako, pag major offenses talaga, more of, kung tatanungin mo ko, very, very important dyan yung pag-involve ng HR and at the same time documentation, pag-involve ng management, at the same time also pag-ayos, dun sa pinaka naging incident, especially if it, again, as I mentioned a while ago, if it involves bigger impact, let's say customers, it involves compliance, it involves data privacy. These things should not be taken lightly and should really thoroughly be investigated. Dahil malalim yan, lalo na kung meron yang business impact na malaki dun sa negosyo niyo. So, at minsan dyan, hindi lang isang tao yan or isang bunch of people in one department. Minsan, sangay-sangay na departments yan. So, di ba, napaka-ano nun it has to be, kaya nga ako, pag ganon, root cause, pero kailangan talaga, we have to understand. We have to really retrace everything. Yung forensics na sinasabi. Not there to witch hunt, not to pinpoint, but to actually fix the process. Ako, yun naman yung objective natin These things happen because there must be something wrong, not perhaps with the process, perhaps with the way we are administering the process or we are implementing things in the house. No? So yun yung ano ko dun.
I I would suggest, okay, so a disciplinary process, okay, or this yung employee disciplinary conduct. You start simple.
Yeah,
Kasi yung iba kasi, ang gagawin nila, actually I've been asked for a template for mine. Actually, there are complex disciplinary code of disciplines, okay? But I would suggest to keep it simple. Okay, ano ba yung mga violations that can be corrected? So those are your minor offenses. Those offenses that are parang nuisance to your operations, that can be your moderate offenses or yung sinasabi nila lightly serious. Kasi meron tayong ano uh, very mild cases or minor offenses, tapos meron tayong lightly serious, tapos meron tayo serious. So you have to distinguish yung mga ganon. Sa akin kasi, that's how I distinguish nuisance to your operations. Like for example, errors, 'di ba? Flaws. Ano pa? Hindi pag sunod ng mga SOP, especially if it leads to some problems like accidents. That can be yung pinakasiling nyo ng moderate offenses. Major offenses are those that really cost your company reputation, image, and money. So that's why mga complaints, customer complaints, they are really major offenses. So, ganun ko din i-define yon. Kasi yung iba, parang paano kung ganito, paano kung ganyan. Actually, you keep the house rules simple. Pagka startup pa lang kayo, you just list those offenses talagang you cannot live with na talagang may effect or impact, sinasabi ni George, sa business ninyo. And then as your company grows, you can actually, syempre, you can review it every year and see if it's effective. And then put in some offenses na feeling nyo o parang hindi kayo nakapag-decide ng maigi. Tapos binigyan lang ninyo ng light punishment, pero it still continued. Okay, so what are these? Sometimes, okay, yung performance issue, lalo na yung mga insubordination, ganyan yun ng levels. Okay, ano ba yung mga instances na insubordinate yung tao? Hindi kayo sinunod kasi hindi kayo binigyan ng report. Ilang beses nyo ito tolerate yun hanggang sa maging offense. So, that is actually a product of, kasi usually, George, may caucus ang mga line managers and HR, pinag-uusapan yan. Ngayon, naiintindihan ko na mahirap gawin yan kasi yung line manager, sad to say, kasi popularity contest or naging friend na niya yung kanyang mga staff, ayaw na niya umakto. So, I think that's one problem. However, then that is supposed to be part of their performance. Not just with decision making, but being a spokesperson of the company as well. Kasi manager na siya eh. So, yon. So, it comes with the rank.
Corporate citizenship.
Yes. Oo. So, ganun yung mga levels ng decision making dyan sa violations. Ngayon, anything that hindi sakop ng code of conduct ninyo, hindi porke walang code of conduct, wala kayong gagawin. Kasi pag tiningnan nyo yung employee contract ninyo, yung pro forma ng lawyer ninyo, sasabihin, this employee agrees to follow the rules and regulations of the company. It's in the employee contract. Ngayon kung wala yon, nako, balikan nyo yung legal consultant nyo. Dapat meron yon. And i-check nyo. Okay, so that's why obligado kayo kahit house rules, guidelines, man lang, meron kayo. So, here. So, anyway, madami pa dito. So, asking for a friend, okay. So, meron na tayo. But usually, yung sa extramarital affair, laging tinatanong yan. Yeah, it's actually, I've been doing volunteer work since 2016. Palaging tinatanong yung extramarital affair na yan. And what I'm just going to say is being part of the HR department, dapat factual kasi tayo. So dapat hindi tayo nagpa-participate sa rumor mongering or any slanderous activity. Kasi kahit papano, empleyado pa rin yan ng company and we should always protect their self-esteem. Wow. So George, umabot na tayo ng 8:30.
Pero okay
Oo.
yan, ganda.
Oo.
Lang, no? Pero dami ko natutunan. Especially ngayong gabi because these are really good examples that you've shared, Chris. And I hope that everyone also got a lot of it. Ako, I was just listening talaga. Kasi nga, iba talaga yung coming from case to case. Tapos makikita mo talaga yung talagang hard experience kung ano yung dapat ginagawa. So, and it's not just because you're following the law or it's written in a policy. It's not that. It's really coming from how you should balance things in terms of administering the HR process and governance. So, galing.
So you have to look at HR kasi as a holistic process, okay? It's not just, 'di ba? I think I have Miss Universe fever pa. But remember with our representative in the Miss Universe, pumasok siya, kulang yung kanyang yung kanyang national costume. And then it was found out later that the reason she was not able to wear the sun, it's because it actually weighed a lot. And if I was actually reflecting on it and then making it parang kasi ang HR, you have to balance all your processes. Kasi minsan, okay, at the start, if the company is just small, then you have to make it more simplified para people can follow it. And then once people are able to follow it and it's part of their programming at work, then you can add on more complex things. Kasi yung iba, pag introduce itong facet na to, ang dami ng mga major offenses. Alam mo, minsan, pag tiningnan mo, it's okay to be 2 steps ahead. But sometimes, okay, when I discuss kasi the employee conduct at may madaming offenses na ganyan, nagkaka-idea pa nga yung tao kung ano yung mga offenses na dapat i-commit. Parang ay meron palang offense na ganyan, and then they start being curious, and then parang nagtatanong-tanong sila, and then before you know it, they are already doing that offense. So that's why I just keep it simple, like attendance, okay, punctuality, tardiness, and then no horse playing in the office. And then what else? Submit reports on time, or else it's a performance issue, it's a markdown on your performance. And then yung mga during investigation, yung lying, dishonesty, yung mga ganyan, that's already a major offense. So hindi na siya, parang sinasite lang namin yung examples ng dishonesty, like tampering, yung time card, okay, when you're asked for your testimony, hindi ka nagsabi ng totoo, yung mga ganon. So that's a major offense, a termination already. Para sinimplify lang namin yung process. Okay. So anyway, do you have the time? What is the proper approach to discipline an HR staff? The HR staff council. You have to do it progressively kung performance issue ng HR staff. Again, start with counseling, point out the problem, okay, give the staff some leeway to improve her performance. Pag hindi pa, then do a written memo.
Ako, similar to how you discipline the whole organization. It's the same.
Yes, ganun din. Yung sa sales, ganun din. Counsel, okay, point out that you have not been You have not been selling units. So what's the problem? Can you improve on it? Diba? And then I'm going to give you this quarter to improve your performance. Kung hindi, okay, written memo. Okay, so George, actually, we will actually spend the whole day talking about
Oh,
employee
let's do
discipline,
it.
okay? Kasi napakadami talagang offenses. But
Siguro next time we can have another session.
okay. So anyhow, okay, so this is a busy Saturday for both of us. And we're coming up with a series. So this is just like the part one of our series. So we're talking about how to create a harmonious work environment for to pave the way for to support wellness and mental health. Okay, so I hope that you keep on watching every Saturday for the various issues that we will tackle. So,
What's
yan.
ano to very very relevant to. So you can't see it anywhere else because tsaka ito all facets no from leadership from policies from yun na nga yung pati CNB lahat everything will be discussed no? So please stay tuned no?
Okay, George. So, anyhow, okay, so we will also be coming up with some training programs, okay, to support our HR members, okay, in their efforts to upskill and also to retool themselves, okay, kasi nagiging challenging nga yung environment. So, just watch out for our announcement. And then, George, okay, thank you for being here this
Thank you,
evening.
Chris. Thank you, Chris. And as well, marami ako natutunan. Sayang wala si Ken Ken, no? Pero yeah, it's been a very, very fruitful Saturday evening.
Okay, so anyhow, we'll see each other pa. So for everyone, it's a temporary goodbye and we'll see you. And all your questions, just keep on typing it in the comment section.
Comments. And then we'll get back to it.
Okay,
Hopefully discuss it in the future. Okay?
yes. Okay, so bye for now and have a nice evening.
During the pandemic, why don't you upskill in the comforts of your own home? Improve and add more certificates in your resume. Simple, direct, easy. Visit the playlist in our YouTube channel. Browse through our videos and choose the video that interests you. Send in your request for a particular video and we will send back the certificate via email. Watch this full video for the details.